Hey guys, I'm Björn.
I'm Anders, we're from In Flames, and we are happy to be here at Linea Rock.
Nailed it!
Hello guys, welcome to Linea Rock, welcome to Milan. We have In Flames here tonight. Anders and Björn, is that correct?
Yeah, it is correct. Thank you very much for having us.
Welcome to Milan.
Thank you very much.
You're here presenting the new record, which is coming out in November. It's September now, so it's a bit early, but we're gonna talk about it.
It's still gonna be good in November.
Okay. It doesn't really
That's
have
good.
a best before date, so it should last that long.
Okay, so no matter what the people or media think that what you are on what you should be, In Flames once again stay true to your vision of music. That's what I perceived from the record. Is this new album the battle of all battles, or it is actually so natural as it seems for In Flames to be In Flames?
I think it's like, we've jokingly said this before, but we're like the best In Flames band there is. But it's because we are In Flames. And
That's the only thing we know.
Yeah, so it's hard. I mean, the only thing, the one thing that sort of defines us is that we love melodies, right? And melodies in this style of music. We come from death metal, we're huge fans of that, but we also come from new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah.
We come from German thrash, from all this. So all these things in the beginning sort of defined what we wanted to do. And we decided very early that this is, there's no way we can please everybody, but we can make sure that we love what we do, and having that standpoint, or having that essence, that core, makes it very easy, in a way, because we don't need to look for what's happening right now. We don't need to sort of please anybody else, and we can be free in our musicianship in a way. Sounding very cliche, but it's actually true.
It is.
That makes it fun. We're sitting here 20 plus years later, talking to you about our latest record, the 12th record that and we love it still. It's amazing. It gives us a great, foundation from which to work.
We love. I mean, having people that admire what you do, it's fantastic. I mean, it's much more fun to do this with a group of people than instead of playing on your own in your room back home. I mean, it's great. We're living our dream. Being a musician, traveling the world, meeting these amazing people everywhere. That's awesome. But I can't start writing. I can't write for them. Do you know what I mean? That is important. No, we love them, but we can't write for them. I have to look Björn in the eyes. Do you feel this? Do you like this? Do you think this is representing us? And if he says yes, then we go. If not, then we start over.
Okay. So you're very well known for your signature unique sound, as also you mentioned. In which sense you felt the need this time, and actually, experimented new formulas on these 12 album battles? Because as you mentioned, there's more melody this time that comes back. So
I don't think I said that, but for us, the very foundation we build from is, the first ideas are melodies and riffs, and that's where we build from. We always did that, and we have everything we experienced with us. Into the new productions. I think there was other things that were different on this album. We got the opportunity to talk to some of the most important producers that we could think of. We could name drop 10 of them, and we got to talk to all of them and see.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience and really humbling in a way, but also really cool to know that all of these guys actually knew who we were and understood our take on metal. And we decided to work with Howard in the end, said the right things, and we hit it off really well. And he sort of demanded to be a part of this from an early.
Yeah.
He and also.
Well, he wanted us to create demos.
Exactly,
basically.
and I think that we needed to open up, in a way that to let him in. I mean, it would be stupid to work with one of those guys and not let them do their job.
Okay.
At what they're good at. So we had to open up, accept an outside influence in a way, and that led, as you mentioned, we had to do demos so he could be a part of that early, so he can hear where we were taking things and what our ideas were. But that meant that we had to open up too, in a way, so we could work together in every aspect of the song, which we really haven't done. That
No, not in this way. Music have been done in one corner, and vocals have been done in one corner, and then we met up in the mix. But now we had to create demos that we were pleased with before the actual recording. And so we were already happy at that point. We were like, yeah, this is awesome. Now we know where we're going. So the whole recording became more relaxed in that way and more enjoyable, I would say. I mean,
focused.
It's amazing that we learned so much about this process of after so many albums, like realizing letting go sometime of some of your control issues is not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very much us, and we have a saying in everything. We don't let anyone say, okay, this is the song you don't have in Flames, shut up, we're gonna release this. But I mean, letting someone into the process already, like we use Howard more or less like a filter, and he came in with ideas and kicked us in a direction. Not in. He might kick you in the nuts. I was
No,
there.
but it was helping us focus, being that wall that you can throw your ideas at and see what comes back in what shape and everything. So it was very important.
Actually, is the keystone in a sense of the new record, and you picked him among all other producers just because it was like very much involved in everything. Because sometimes bands that have a long story like you guys tend to have more control and
we still do. I mean, we have this, but we always thought that was the only way of working.
yeah.
This is a different way of working, and for this album it really helped because we became super creative. I mean, we're always creative, but we tend to focus on in our little bubble that we are musically. Like, this is what we want to do, and that bubble has taken us all over the place, obviously. But now letting go of, or like popping that bubble and listening to what we could do, and it made us super creative. We started working on 11 songs. That's going to be on the record. 11 songs, right? Now there's 12 on the record, and we actually wrote 15. So the whole experience was obviously very creative and productive.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that he was a kind of filter, but was he also a partner in crime in a sense? Did he write anything with you guys, or?
No, it
we're
was.
Talking about Howard Benson.
Of course.
Didn't mention
we didn't mention
his
Howard.
surname.
Sorry, Howard. No, not writing per se, but very much involved in understanding what we tried to achieve and making sure we achieved it. And also in arrangements, I have to say a lot.
Okay.
You guys worked way more intimately than I did with Howard. I was working with Mike Plotnikoff, who was doing co-producing and recording like guitars, bass, and drums.
Is this the very first time that a producer is so much involved in the process as with Howard? And why now? What do you think? Why is happening now?
I think we were ready, I guess. I mean, that's it. We were ready. We've come this far that we had to do something else. I mean, we're not disappointed with something that we've done in the past. The past is the past, and those albums were great, but you can't do the same thing again and again. Yeah. And the experience we had in Berlin with the previous album, Siren Charms, we took it as far as we could, and so we need a new, influence or whatever you want to call it,
new approach to it,
and getting, I mean, we have done so many albums. Who knows how many albums we have, and to get to work with a name like this, it's not like you don't do it every day. It's like we record an album every third year ish, a little bit depends on, but and then I mean, it just felt right, and we were ready. That's all I can say. We were ready. We were, I don't know.
How did you come up with his name in the list of producer? Because of his work maybe with Motorhead or My
Amongst
Chemical
many
Romance,
others.
Sepultura, Bang Tango he did back in the 80s.
It's definitely only because of Bang Tango.
Yeah, it's Bang Tango.
Just only.
He had us at Bang Tango.
This album is heavily influenced by Bang Tango. It's
No, but you said
basically-
it yourself.
yeah.
I mean, just look at the span, like from almost to the verge of pop, all the way to gritty Motorhead.
Right.
You know,
He
he's
did.
done it all. You know, so it's, and he was one of those guys that we talked to, and he just said the right things, and we hit it off like almost immediately, and it was just a good match. It felt like a good match, and somebody we could maybe open up to. You know, because that was scary as shit.
And looking at his resume and knowing that he worked with so many different type of acts, that kind of gives you the feeling that he won't change you into somebody that you're not. Because if someone only worked like, okay, the only thing I've done is this type of music, this is my sound, you know you're gonna get that sound.
Yeah.
You know, eventually, because obviously the people that are recording has this influence in
their sound,
sonically how things everyone have had in the past, like different studios, different engineers, different all that stuff. But it's so important. Even though we say we let control, it doesn't mean like we let someone come in and just like making us someone else. I mean, it's still important that we are us. Like the melody is important. That we can't like do a. I don't know. I mean, our riffs are important. Like the melody is important. Don't take that away. You know.
And this time you decided to work on a new songs in sunny California. So a very different kind of place.
But it's
What,
sort
you
of
know,
the-
where you live. So aren't the tempos or the rhythm of life in LA like a shocking, risky business?
We didn't see life.
We worked on a record.
We worked
Not
on
at
an
all.
album. We
We
didn't
were in
see
the
that.
studio, and we were in the house where we had a small studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
And once in a while we went to the pub. You know,
Yeah.
but it was seriously. I mean, we had 6 to 8 hours in the studio
Wow.
every day. Yeah, but that's nothing. We normally do like 14-hour days.
Oh my
But
God.
that's just the way we used to do things, and
Okay.
and it's it's hard to keep the energy up. But the setup that Howard has with his team is super efficient. So we had like 20 amps along one wall, everything connected, and you just chose which one you wanted to use. You had the speakers out there with different mics on them. Yeah, let's try that amp with that. Done.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't need to wait 45 minutes for a producer to, I think I need to move the mic a bit, and that could take forever.
Okay.
You know, and
Kill the creativity.
Yeah, exactly. You have the energy up here all the time. So we did 6-8 hours of whatever. I mean, if I was playing guitar, you were singing or whatever. Then we can go back to the house and continue writing.
Yeah.
That's why it was so productive.
Yeah, it was not like we were hanging out by the beach, lifting weights, and or we're hanging on Sunset Strip all the time because frankly it's quite boring.
Yeah.
So it was like working, but obviously the environment affects you. Like the Siren Charge album, that's a bit more like gray, and this or cold, and this one is more warm.
Warm, yeah.
In a way, in its sound. I love Siren Charms for what it is, and it was important that we did it at that point in our career. But now here we are, and this album sounds different.
So if everything was so smooth and, very creative and positive, as you mentioned, why this title Battles?
Because we carry battles with us, we have those inside. No matter
All right.
if we're happy or sad, there's always something that we need sort of to deal with. And I think it's extremely important that you deal with your past to be able to move forward. And these things that everyone can relate to. Nothing strange. We all have them. It's not like we're writing something that people go like, here's a new way of thinking. I never thought about this before.
Okay.
Wow, this insightful band here. That's So this is something everyone can relate to, and everyone carry those battles.
And what about the artwork? How does it reflect, the content of the song?
Turn around and watch that one. You see,
We will-
you
You
see.
see that it's like being torn in between. I mean, all these decisions, anything from practical, questions you have to ethical and moral questions, being torn between those. I mean,
Okay.
it really symbolizes it perfectly.
Yeah, and you have to have the balance in life, like yeah.
But you also need to have some old school science fiction in your life.
And you need a gesture head in your forehead.
In your forehead.
Yeah.
Joe Rickard is your new drummer. Why did you wait the end of the recording session to confirm his name as the new drummer? And what happened with Daniel? He has been in the band 18 years, so I bet it was like a tough decision to let him go.
Oh no, we haven't let Daniel go.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. That time with Daniel has been super important, and we never pictured anything but him being with us when we reach wherever we're gonna go. He just felt like the scales tipped over in family's favor, and that's something you can't argue with that. He felt that this is a time with his family that he won't get back. So he felt it was not worth being away that much.
All right.
So that's the reason, and you can't argue that. That's the noblest of reasons.
Yes.
And we didn't want to have finding a new drummer with auditions and all that. All the problems that can and the time it will consume in the way of the record. So we decided to go to the US with our songs and find somebody to session, do a session drummer for the record. And that was it. That was the plan. And Joe is like Howard's go-to guy if he needs somebody to play the drums on a project. If they don't have a band or anything like that, they just, hey, Joe, come in. And he's a great drummer. He's a really, really good drummer. And he's also experienced. He's been in bands before. He's toured big tours and small tours. He's experienced. And he came in to help us out with the programming of the drums, to get a drummer's perspective on our demos. And when we were done with the songs together, he said, well, this is how I would play it. Maybe I should have a go. And we thought it was a great idea. And he started playing and we were just laughing because he's so good.
Yeah.
It just fit.
Yeah.
I've been saying this before, but
Yeah.
if we wouldn't have said that Daniel quit and that we have a new drummer, you would have never known it was a
Really?
different drummer.
Yeah.
The feeling, the vibe is very similar.
Yeah. And
I mean, he looks different, obviously, but just listening to the
Also
album.
from the human point of view?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's extremely dedicated to his instrument. He's a very focused drummer.
Yeah.
He's consistent. And seems like a very stable person.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I mean,
Like that.
we had a few beers with him. You have to have a few beers with people, then you get to know them. And then he was awesome. And then we asked him towards the end, like, you recorded this, do you want to be part of this? And he said, yeah. And then there we go. So, super smooth transitions, because we were expecting coming home and had to have like auditions and stuff like that. And it's just like, nah, nothing like that happened. So yeah, here we are.
Which is the purest In Flames element of Battles, and which one, on the other hand, is the most innovative? What do you think?
After all these years, are we still innovative? I like to think that we do something different on every record. But it could be such details that you probably would think differently. You would think that maybe changing the producer is the step, but for us it's more the musical side of it. But
it's always it's always the melody. Like that's the purest and the essence of In Flames. It's always like it starts off with the guitar. We have a lot of keyboards. We have a lot of like drum loops and stuff like that. That's happening in the background. The song never starts there. It's always with the guitar. And then I personally, with my instrument, I feed off the music, and then we go.
I think a step outside the format that we normally have, we tend to want to go to the good stuff quickly, right? Like the big chorus and all that. We want to do that quickly, but you have a song like Wallflower, for instance, on the record. It's a different kind of journey, and it's built in a different way, very much with the live environment in mind. Okay. How you can build from something really small and create 7-8 minutes later a crescendo and make it interesting all the way. So that's a different format.
Okay.
But also, like, we look at albums We don't write singles, we write albums. We still think of an album, how would this be sitting in your favorite chair with a glass of whiskey listening on the vinyl, you know, kind of that feeling, like how the dynamics are important to us, which songs should be first, where are we? And after like the first 2.5 weeks we had 11 songs, I think you mentioned that, and we looked at the album and there were some parts missing. Think this dynamic thing, like look at the album, and therefore a song like Wallflower was, I would say, necessary for the dynamic, and it turned out great. But we also definitely had it thinking, how would this be when we play it live? How will this sound go down? How is this riff? What is happening here, so to speak?
So Wallflower is a song that actually stands out and that showcases this new spirit, you know, of newborn feeling that you have.
That's deep and and thoughtful words of you there. No, I see it more out of, as Anders mentioned, that journey needs to be complete, you know, on the record. It needs to be interesting from the first song all the way to the last.
Right.
That's how we listen to music. We're not saying it's the right way. We're saying that's how we enjoy music. So for us, from more of a practical is the wrong word, but for this to feel right, it needed that song. So it's not we're not born again musically. Or anything.
well, I
you beg to differ there.
No, but
born again.
Not in that type of. I mean, but it's just like the creation of this album. I feel I'm somewhat born again. Like that, it was such a joyful experience. Working with you. No, but you mean like I think that like we connected on a different level, and I think the outcome is better. Like to me, not the audience again. No, I have no idea. People judge whatever, but to me, this is like the most complete album that we've done.
Yeah,
like from beginning to end. Again, I want to point out, it doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's just like the general experience. And I mean, it's like something that we found on this album. I hope that people can hear it. Like that there is something else. Like there's a spark of something, you know? And yeah.
Was it the more challenging of your career, do you think, also for the band? You know, writing this record?
Well,
I wouldn't say. I mean,
insecure. Like,
no, but in all honesty, I mean, as I mentioned before, we had the intention of making 11 songs for the record, just making the record because we thought we had a good grasp of what we were doing. But we ended up putting another song in, so it's 12 now, right? But we ended up writing and recording 15 songs. So in that sense, it wasn't challenging. It was extremely creative.
Yeah. And every time you enter the studio, you know, since 2005, do you keep in mind, you know, that soundtrack to Your Escape and Come Clarity both won the Grammys, or is something that you better not think about?
Did they? I didn't know, actually. But in all honesty, no. That we carry, like, all our experience with us. It is us.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. I've said it before. It's not like a backpack or a suit you can take off when you don't feel like sounding like In Flames. And it's there.
Yeah.
It will be there. And Grammys or no Grammys, that's like it's irrelevant. Okay. That's nothing to do. There's no way we can, as little as we can sort of predict what the audience wants to hear, as little can we predict who's gonna win the fucking Grammys. Sorry, I'm swearing here, but it's really that irrelevant. It's like it can't be how you make music.
So you said that you prefer, you know, to build the entire album, song by song, but thinking of it as
it's a whole.
A whole thing. Okay. But still you have to pick, you know, singles and videos. And you did, actually, with 2 songs. The end.
Luckily, we actually didn't pick.
Okay. So you didn't do that. Okay. The end, I'm, of course, talking about the end and the truth, but which are also 2 very particular videos. Video game mode. Which is the video game freak in the band? How the idea came about?
I think we all are a little bit. But that's not the point. I mean, I'm not going to tell the story because you need to see them in the right order. You need to see the end and then see the truth. But I think the overall concept, idea, my vision of the idea, you might have a totally different vision. I think Patrick Elias had his vision of it. But I sort of get the feeling that it's like we take not everything for granted, but everything is so fast today with social media and like news and music and everything is just consumed. And you think you're in control of that. But you're no, of course not. This gets pushed on you, you know, in a way. And that's sort of the feeling I have is there. But that's my interpretation of it. You might have a different one. But,
That was great, John.
Okay.
Thanks. Was that profound?
Did
Did that redefine your view of that? Not really, no.
Is there any third part in the making? Will it go on? I mean, for all the videos that you're gonna do for this album, or?
Not that I know. These two videos actually come full circle.
Yeah.
So I think that chapter is finished.
All
But,
right. Done. Okay.
Yeah.
And how will the new songs blend with the classics on the next tour? Did you already start to rehearse and
No.
think about a set list?
We fly home tonight and pretty much wash our clothes and then pack them again and go down to Hamburg to start rehearsing. So they will blend gloriously is what I'm aiming for. We don't know yet, obviously, but we're super excited. We haven't played live in it's a year.
Yeah.
You know, so we can't wait to get back on the road. So,
I think they will match perfectly along the
I think so.
so-called classics.
Okay. And Anders, as a vocalist, could be, the constant experimentation tricky in a sense and affect, building a style and developing technique sometimes? What do you think?
Well, I think I have my style, but I'm...
Because you always surprise, you always surprise people when you sing. So, that's the feeling.
Yeah, I might surprise people this time too then. No, but I think I have my style. I don't aim to be the best singer in the world. I think I have my unique way. But for this album, I decided to take it my instrument a bit more serious. So knowing that we were going to LA, I know there's a lot of expertise in their field. So I asked my management and Howard Benson to hook me up with a vocal coach, so I can basically learn my instrument, understand where it is, and understand the what I should and shouldn't do. Just by. Because I realized there's so much that affects the vocals, like not who you are, but how you feel, what you eat, what you drink, sleep, where you are in your head, your headspace at that point. And I went to this wonderful, I call him my vocal guru, Mark Rank, his name, and we just talked about a lot of stuff. And he asked he asked me to sing, of course, but he asked me what I want to do with my voice, and just we talked in general about everything, like life, and it helped a lot. And we tried to develop or massage what I already have, so I can stretch my chords to become, reach maybe deeper and higher, but at the same time not trying to push me in a direction where I'm not trying to be Pavarotti, there's
Okay.
this, it's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late. But I am me, but I want to take care of my instrument. So I worked really hard on that one. I had 3 sessions every week throughout the whole recording, starting already when we started writing demos. And I feel I can hear I know I hear the result. It is different. But also something that I want to say that to me it's very important when I sing and do my stuff. It's like, for me, even if you don't understand English, I would like to give you a feeling like that you feel the emotion, almost what I'm singing about, without understanding, or at least it gives you a feel that where you can be this is what it means to me. Like you're affected, and obviously I know not everyone, not everyone care. But I mean, those who do care, I want them to, I want that gotta be emotions. It's gotta be, because I believe everyone can sing, everybody can do la 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 stuff like that. But perfect vocals to me are fucking boring. Like, because it's like so, there's no emotion behind it, nothing. So I really admire singers with that have some personality, and yeah, I believe I do. You know, and
do you have an hero in this sense, somebody that you look up to, and which is your main?
Lane from Alice in Chains. It was
Okay.
like one of those guys where I thought have an enormous depth, and he could really describe to you how he felt.
And
And Pavarotti, of course.
And Pavarotti, of course. We're in Italy, okay. And what's In Flames' signature in developing, of melodic death metal and alternative metal? What do you think you actually gave as,
I think
it's peculiar,
I think we give something, not gave something. That means it sounds like it's over.
No, I'm talking about. I mentioned gay because you have a long story, so you've been here. You have a long career.
I think, and I do believe most bands. I hope most bands have the same attitude. I like you write what you feel like, and you happy about your own thing. Don't think so much about the outside world. Just go. And we just happened to grow up listening to heavy metal, speed metal, death metal, and we put that all in a blender, and out came this. Yeah. And then we sort of stayed true to that, the essence. And of course, people can. You can argue, and I think you're right, that Luna's Train doesn't sound the same as Battles, but it's still that melody that is important. That it starts with that melody, and I think after everything is done, after we gave everything,
okay,
I think people will still go, "Oh, that's In Flames. I can hear that's In Flames." We have had a certain sound. And whether you like it or not, it doesn't really matter. But we had a sound that is ours.
Are Iron Maiden still a big influence on you? And do you think they still actually are one of the most influential bands in metal, even with their, last records?
I mean, you can still, especially in Sweden, I don't know how it is in every country, but when they come, you can see granddads, dads, and their kids in the
whole
audience.
Family.
So it's like they bring, like continuous, like have this is an amazing gateway into metal, But for me, it was obviously growing up, seeing these older guys with back patches and a boombox listening to, Aces High and be like, fuck, what's amazing, that affects me.
Okay.
Not as much if I see same guys today with patches and a boombox. I wouldn't be that impressed,
right.
So it hasn't, when it hits you in a certain moment in life, that's where it's the most influential. I have my favorite, and I think Iron Maiden done a great service to metal, but yeah, that's my 5 cents.
I really agree. I mean, I think on an early point, when you're sort of searching musically for your identity in a way, that's when that influences you. And Maiden was one of those bands, obviously, with the lots of guitars and extremely melodic. And that mixed with the sort of Florida death metal, in my case, and you guys were a bit more knowledgeable when it came to the death metal than I was, perhaps. But it was sort of a good mix,
Despite the heavy use of keyboards in your music, you never decided to add a keyboardist as a full-time member in the band. Why that?
We don't want to have anyone else in the tour bus.
No, it's enough with us.
Yeah. No, but we don't have that playing style of. It's more like pads or drum loops or programs. Like it's not really. You don't need one that press one button. Like that. It's just. Why?
But it was never interesting to have another guy.
All right.
No.
You had a lot of lineup changes through the years, and session musicians coming and going. Was losing founding member and mastermind Jasper one of the hardest moments of In Flames history? How do you look at that now backwards?
In all honesty, like you have to see the whole thing in its right context. Because at the time, he was not feeling well. And this, of course, affected everything around him, us included. And this is pretty much a family member living this close for so many years together, doing
Yeah.
all these things together, that's not functioning. So at the time when he actually decided to quit, it was almost like a relief at the time, because
Okay.
then now we know what we have to deal with. Now we can turn the page, move on to what we, need to do. So that time, we didn't talk to anybody outside about this. Like, it was just a bad situation. We tried to not contain it, but we tried to fix it for quite some time, and that time was really tough.
Okay. And there was no choice. I mean, from your words, it seems that it was the only decision you could make.
Yeah, he made it.
Yeah.
But I think this decision had been made either way.
Yeah.
As it was, as the situation was, it was not going to function.
Okay. And Anders, what do you think about Michael Stanne singing in Dark Tranquility now, and about his sessions with In Flames back in the days? You actually switched roles in a sense at some point. So
Well, we didn't really switch, because I left Dark Tranquility for Ceremonial Oath, so I was away, and then I joined. That's where I got to know Jasper, and he asked me if I want to join In Flames. We didn't switch, but I mean, these are my friends growing up, and I'm they are still continuing doing what they love as well. They have the same attitude, and I think their latest album, we got to I stayed at Björn's house, and we went out to a bar, and Anders, the drummer, he was at the bar, and we started talking a lot, 'cause I grew up with these guys and haven't really had a chance of just having a conversation for more than a hey, how are you, bye bye, like that.
Yeah.
We were talking for real, and we went home to Björn's house, we were cooking, and we got to we got to hear their new album, and we got to play our new album, and we just it was such a
really good evening.
really, really good night, and I think they made an amazing album.
Yeah.
And just they have the same, again, they just continue to do their thing, and they are very unique in their expression as well. And I think Michael is a wonderful frontman, and he seems like he's very happy, so I'm happy for him.
great. Okay, so Anders, you have your own beer brand, which is called Frequency, if I'm correct, and your own record label, Selective Notes. Do you consider those just extra projects of this and part of the same game? And actually, do you still have time off sometimes to relax? Beside touring, making records, beer.
Yeah, well, for some reason I always end up doing stuff which I could have easily just sit back and relax, but I don't. I put myself in a situation where I always got to do stuff, Now I don't have the record label anymore. Actually, I ended that before the summer. Which is a bit it's a bit sad, because I love those bands still, but we had the label I was working with, we parted ways sort of. I lost track. Beer is fun. no, but
Can I quote you on that? That's really good.
No, but I mean, I have a hard time to not do anything and relax. Sometimes I think. If you ask my family, they would love me to just chill,
relax
a bit. But it's a way also for me to keep this what we do here, keep this fun, and it makes me sane in a way.
Okay.
I mean, if it would be, no matter how much I love In Flames, and I would live and die by In Flames, but it's just you can't be Anders of In Flames all the time. You need to be someone else, and you got to be beer man sometime, and you got to be record company man sometimes.
But considering Selective Notes, was it directed from a musician point of view, or feeling the managers choose? You found yourself doing all the things that maybe you hated, from record companies.
It's a great way of understanding the business, how it works. Being on both sides. I mean, I know what I can. I understand how annoying a musician can be. Being me. I mean, there's two sides of the coin. You gotta.
That's why you decided to to finish that
No,
experience?
no. It was
Different.
more of the.
Okay.
No, it has a different business
All right.
motive, but it's a good learning experience. But the thing is, I love to work with people and love to work with music, and it was great finding bands, just being like giving them an advice on things, because I think I learned a few things along the way, being doing this for a long time,
Yeah.
so I could help them like not fall in the worst traps in the beginning. And I believe I have a good ear for music that that I've trained along the way, that I can like listen to mixes and feel all levels of instruments and sort of, but in the I think I'm a good boss too. Like I let them feel that they are in charge, or they are in charge, so but it's great. Might do that again.
With In Flames, do you still have the black leather sponsorship for your crew, and will they make maybe the outfits for the next tour or something like that?
Blåkläder.
Oh, okay. But I thought you said black leather. So what? Black leather?
Okay, I don't.
It was a great relationship. I'm not sure if that's ended or not yet, but
I have no idea. But it's good working clothes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it just because I don't walk in it, but for the crew it's
For the crew it's perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
So the correct pronunciation is blåkläder. Okay.
Blåkläder, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Swedish. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard.
It
But
is.
they approached it from that angle. It wasn't supposed to be like a band thing.
Yeah.
It's like the people surrounding
Yeah.
In Flames. So I like that angle.
You shared the stage through the years with Metallica, Judas Priest, and Slipknot, among others. I'm just picking, these three. Which band do you feel closest to in the spirit and attitude among these three?
I think I learned a lot from Slayer.
Yeah, Slayer. We toured very much with Slayer, and we learned a lot. It was an very important time, seeing their attitudes towards the live show, how hard they're working,
Okay.
and the appreciation for their fans.
It's a pure dedication. I
Yeah,
mean, even if they
really
feel like
nice.
shit off stage, they never took that on stage, or they developed that into some energy. But it was always about that show, and that's something I've learned, that you give everything for the ones that paid money to be there. Then it's been great to be with these other acts as well.
Yeah, of
but
course.
that is definitely the band that showed me how to be professional about your.
And it doesn't hurt that we're super big fans of the band too.
Okay.
No, of course.
What's next? The tour, I guess, and it's gonna be a long worldwide tour.
Yeah, you just said it.
Okay.
No, but that's sort of how we do it. We do an album, and then we tour, and we really do love touring, and we're fortunate enough to have people interested in what we do all over the world. So yeah, touring is coming up. Starts in Japan.
Next step, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Japan, and then the US, and then we go to the UK, and hopefully connect that to Europe, probably back to the US, Australia, and then Europe, and then festivals, and it's.
So Europe will be next year.
Europe will be next
Yeah,
year, but
totally.
we don't know exactly when and where, because it's not announced, and it's.
Do you have anything special in mind for the stage production that you can anticipate? Us today?
It will only be Dark Tranquility covers, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No, come
And
on.
we will dress like them too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys,
Thank
for
you.
your time,
Thanks.
and
Thanks for
see
having
you
us.
very soon.
Thank you
to
for having
Italy.
us.
Thank you.